look, we're live. How's it going, everyone? Looks like I'm not sure if that's me and all three of the people watching, but it could very well be. If not, welcome to the first of hopefully many office hours for Code Contemporary, my new company. If you are interested in the web development community, CSS, HTML, that sort of thing, I'm here to help you in any way that I can. You can post any questions that you've got over in the live chat, which should be to the right over there. If not, I'm probably just going to be working on some ad spaces that I've got for my personal site to start promoting my course Practical CSS Grid. Right now there's a pop-up that really annoys me that I have, so I'll be working probably in Figma to get that going. Or if you have any questions, I would love to answer them for you, whether that's professional development, CSS, HTML, static sites, JavaScript, although I'm not as strong in that, so we'll probably be Googling together if we're talking about bigger JavaScript issues. If you have designs you'd like to get a critique on, I'm more than happy to do that as well. Oh look, I've got audio playing. Great. All right. Well, there's no one in the chat right now, so I'll just start working on my site. I'm also, as we go through here, I'm working on getting my personal site back up and running on the new laptop that I've got here. So I'm getting Ruby installed because it's a Jekyll site, and seeing if we can get a local copy up and running. That way I can at least show why I want to move that to a better version. So theoretically I need to install bundle as well. So we're just going to go grab that. What can we do? CLI docs, chat with us. Gem install bundler. So I already have RVM installed. That was what I did right before the stream started, to manage my Ruby instances, and hopefully we're just running one type. Let's see, bundle install. No gem file because I'm not in my directory. Documents, development, portfolio, install Ruby 236. Should also probably look at updating my Ruby version for my site, but that is neither here nor there. So that'll take some time. So I'm also experimenting a decent bit with the online web design tool called Figma. I've used Sketch in the past, but I'd love to see if I can find something that is somewhat free, or at least low cost, so that if I ever do training around design topics, I can recommend this. I just imported a sketch file. I kind of want to see what comes out of that sketch file. It's the Code Contemporary, the screens that I was using for doing this this live stream, the background and the preview image. Although you can see the fonts aren't here for some reason, which is awesome. Well, we're not going to be doing anything on this anyway. I just want to make sure I've got a copy of this, and we'll start up a new page. Call this CSS Practical CSS Grid Promo. I suppose I can pull up my website and we can go take a look at what the actual promo is right now, which is a little frustrating. So we'll go to this most recent post. I think it's based on a timer. It could be based on page scroll. I probably already have a cookie set for my site. So we'll open it in an incognito window and take a look. Alright, let's see. I know it's gonna fire here soon. There it goes. Yeah, see, this is actually just a standard thing from MailChimp. I've got just a little bit of text and this kind of, I threw this together real fast after I got a CSS Tricks promoted one of my posts, and I was like, oh, I need to capitalize on that as soon as possible. So I did this quick graphic for it, and it's really, it embarrasses me a little bit, so we do need to work on that a little bit today. Like I said, unless there are questions that come up, but I don't know if anyone's actually watching this right now, so there may not be questions. So a shout out to the Code Connective community. I posted over in their Slack, and they're promoting it a little bit. Let's see, we're still waiting on that version of Ruby to install, so that's going to take some time, especially since I'm live streaming, and that's going to go real great. Oh look, as we talk, it gets up and running. So bundle exec Jekyll serve bundle install. And we are still installing. Cool. So yeah, this is the area that I'm looking at rebuilding, or not rebuilding. I don't really want it to be a pop-up, and so I'm contemplating creating a reusable component for my Jekyll site that I could insert into any blog post and have it kind of maybe 2/3 of the way down the page, 1/3 of the way down the page, just insert it in the content that is a simple promo. So actually what I'll probably end up doing here is I'm going to take a quick screenshot of this. I'm going to paste it into that. Let's see. So we'll pretend like it's here. Take a screenshot of this, and we will go into Figma and see if we can just paste that in easily enough. So here we are. New artboard, paste in that screenshot. Okay, alright. Close out the missing fonts window. And like I said, I am by no means an expert in Figma. It's very similar looking to Sketch, which I've been using a decent bit recently. So we will see how many issues I have finding UI elements in here. Let's see, so I actually want to see if I can slice this up a little bit. Actually, I'm also a little bit more familiar with Photoshop anyway. So we might run into issues of me trying to figure out how to slice a piece of this. No bueno. Oh, this is what happens when you try to change tools. Frame this. Anyway, neither here nor there. We're going to create a new rectangle down here. And we probably want to match up with the size of my content column up there and probably not be too deep. So put this on in here, line it up. And just so we've got it, we'll grab some more content. Just with another screenshot to make my life a little easier. Again, feel free to chime in with questions. I am perfectly open to answering anything and anything that comes this way instead of working on this. So the rectangle is now on top. Align everything to the right. Make this a little bigger. All right. Alright, this is up and running, so let's see, bundler exec Jekyll build. Bundle exec Jekyll build. Serve. theoretically on my local host, I've got a running copy of my site. No CSS. All right. Quit out of that. Gulp. Serve? That's just the default. New computers, y'all. Especially when you don't install things from a backup. npm install globally gulp. I'm not sure what sort of... Oh. Alright, so James has asked, and I'm going to talk this out while I type it to him also because he can't hear me because he's muted at work. Sudo npm install globally gulp. So James working on a new promo for my site to replace the pop-up for practical CSS grid. There we go, installing gulp. All right, let's see if that command works better now. Let's see, this is in my Lambda build, right? Nope. In my gulp file, there's an error, and I'm tracking that down. Basically, I was using the wrong version of an npm or of a node module. I thought I had to go install it a long, long time ago. Let's see. Require fs. That should do it. There we go. Okay. The file system package from Node. It's an actual module inside of Node.js. I was reading some tutorials, thought that I had to go get something called fs as a package from npm, installed that. It basically was just a package around that basic Node module. So I had kind of a redundant dependency, and now I've gotten rid of that. So excellent news. Let's see if we have CSS. We do not yet. Let's go to save CSS file. Save this. Sash it. Compile. There we go. Now we've got a local working copy. Gulp, built, Sass, all that good stuff. Let's see. Don't need that open anymore. Let's get back into Figma. All right, so in the end, what I kind of need, and I'll make some notes over here for myself, I need an image. Whoa, that's some small text. Zoom back in. Promo text. Why would you default to 12 pixel font size? Let's go ahead and up that. Promo text. We need a graphical element. Need a call to action, and probably not a whole lot else. We want it to kind of fit in line with what we have working. So I'm just going to draw some space for each of these a little bit. We don't want to be as tall as what I already have there. I mean, honestly, this could be an entire area. So let's just go ahead and grab this text as a starting point. And by the way, if you're interested in learning CSS Grid, I am offering 50% off while I'm developing the course. It should be out by the end of the year. You can go to codecontemporary.com or brianlrobinson.com. Both those links are at the bottom of the stream right now, and you can get that 50% off. I don't need you open anymore. Get some text. All right. Let's see, I doubt we'll have the font that I want in here, but let's take a look. Not Roboto. Yes, I would like to enable local fonts. Thank you for asking. Oh, man. You know what? We have a Google font on my site, so let's see if I can access that without too much trouble. I know there are a couple people watching in there, so if you do have any questions about anything, just raise a hand in the chat, let me know, and I will answer them right away. Alright, cancel out of that. So let's take this, and let's look at our fonts, and see if we have Merriweather. We do. Merriweather's the font that I have on my site, so I'm trying to keep it a little consistent. Alright, let's copy that out. So we want a title text. We want it to be bold. We got kind of this bit of text here, and we need a call to action button. Sign up now. Again, I'm completely unfamiliar with Figma, so this is all kind of new to me. I wonder if there's a way to import color schemes. Probably not. Okay, so we will open up over here again and open up DevTools. Here are the various colors on the page, which is lovely. We'll grab this orangey color for our button. Let's see, fill becomes that. Text will make white, so it's a little bit easier to read on that. Fill for the text is white. Alright, so we'll end up in theory with something along these lines. Not particularly exciting, I know, but let's clean things up a little bit, make a group out of the button, make a group out of this side, and make a group out of the entire area. Hey Stefan, so I'll be online through 11. I'm hoping to do office hours at least weekly. React is not my strongest point. I do know a little bit about it. I'm probably better at taking a look at your code and figuring out if you have anything that's going wrong in there. So feel free to reach out to me. You can leave a message here. I'm on Twitter at BROB. B-Rob. Leave me a message, and I'm definitely going to be around hopefully next week at the same time, and we can take a look at if you've got some code that you want to share with me and get some help with, or maybe I'll take a look at some stuff and we'll do a small React app or something like that to kind of play with during the next office hours. So yeah, definitely check back in on that, or reach out to me on Twitter. So let's get back over here and zoom back out. So I actually did a pretty decent job at getting that lined up, even though I was just eyeballing that piece. So we'll bring this down. And get this inserted into that area. So Man, those fonts don't look right, do they? Let's get into that group and see if we can figure out what we need there. Yes, Evan, definitely send me a tweet and I can take a look at it, and then we can work through from there. I am curious as to why that group is so tall. Let's open up that group. Oh, because there's a rectangle. Look at that. Oh no, that's that's very strange. That's probably a Figma thing going on there. Right. Let's get into the text and see what we can work out here. There's probably some line height issues too. We don't want to indent. That's the kerning. Indentation still. Where are my text options? There we go. I'm on the wrong. Let's go ahead up this. I'm probably on a lighter weight too. That would explain. There we go. That's looking much closer. Now, the only downside to me having started with a screenshot is I took it from my high DPI screen and it's huge, and so all of my font sizes are going to be at multiples of what they should be, unfortunately. But that's closer. Let's go ahead and bring that line height back down just a little bit. Let's line it up here so we can take a look. Font size is right. That's probably close enough for what we're playing with today. So we get something that looks a little bit more like that. And so we would actually very much depend on this promo area, this promo image. Now I'm kind of debating on whether or not I want to go into its own custom component or have a component that's reusable, so I can put any number of content pieces in here and have it be an ad in the middle of the page. I could go very easily back and forth. I could very easily just put the Code Contemporary logo in that spot and kind of put that here. But I probably need some separators as well to kind of make the most sense. But let me go ahead and grab that that logo real fast. Let's see how copy and paste works. Not bad. All right, let's size that down some. All right, and let's align this group and that top. Oh, already was pretty close. And let's extend this down some, get some spacing, and make this title more titly, shall we? And maybe not have it be bold. Let's take it back down to regular and just have it be bigger. Let's go 72. There we go, starting to look more and more right along the way. That text is too big. It's gonna bug me. It's gonna bug me unless I have it perfect, and that is a problem for me. I should be working on that, that's for sure. Anyway, we'll do that in code. That'll be okay. So let's see. I'm also kind of using this as a practice in talking and working out loud, which should hopefully allow for some better videos in the future for some other projects. Let's see. I guess technically this text layer is a sized text layer. that was the issue. Alright. What is even happening in this wide world? There we go. Alright. So let's line that up. Alright, 1, 2. Let's call it 20. And 20. So just trying to keep some consistent spacing there. And then obviously this can come over since we don't need quite as much room there. And this can extend out to the edge. Technically, so can you, my little friend. Alright. And I still think we need some form of separation. So we'll try some rectangles, we'll try some lines, see what feels the best for separating this out. I do wonder if I should use, I've got kind of a style on this page that has this gradient box behind it. That could be an interesting way of separating it from the page. And it's already a style that I've got on my site, which will keep things consistent. Hold on one sec, let's go, whoops, back here. Alright, there we go. So let's grab this gradient. Would be really great, and I doubt it will work, is if I could grab this gradient and actually put a rectangle and style that rectangle. What do you think the chances are that that will work? So there's this code area, CSS, fill. So instead of background, we've got, whoop. So you can't edit the code, it would appear. That is somewhat lame, but that's okay. We will persevere and we will get a gradient for that. So let me find, yeah, I didn't think that would work. Okay. We don't want it to be solid, we want it to be a linear gradient. And let's see, we want to start with this color. And we want to end, not with the transparency, we want to end with this blue. And we want that blue to be at 100%. And it's at 120 degree. Is there a degree entry point that I can put in here? Diamond image. Don't want to do any of that. Again, nope. So we will guess at about 120 degrees. And let me see if there's a size on this. Width, height, 100%. No. Okay. So bring this on in here, and the whole key of this is actually to make a instead of, you know, this won't be an actual background on this entire area, it'll actually be something that will look like a border, is the goal. So we'll bring this up, have this be the width and the height here, and then we'll bring the group up above it, and we will put a rectangle in the group that matches up with about, how big is the rectangle? 2198. So we'll make a new rectangle that is 2198, and we will bring that down 10 pixels. 20 pixels in this because it's a retina display. And we'll, oh man, okay, let's, there we go. That's more what I want. All right. we'll center it in here, make it the same all around, and make it a background color of white. Move it into our area, and bring our text size with some padding in there. Make all these line up again, which they're not. Okay. And bring this on over. Bring our logo on over. Bring this back over here. And let's align the groups center. And let's align it centered with that too. There we go. Zoom on out. I don't know. I think that ends up looking pretty nice. Yes, I do plan on doing this every week at least. So I'll either be working on whatever I've got going on, in this case this promo, or answering any questions, doing design critiques, helping with your code if you've got a code sample. Hopefully this grows and becomes a bigger thing. Instead of just us talking to each other right now. I think there's only you in the chat right now. So yeah, the goal is to be bigger than where we're currently at, and answering questions once a week to begin with, and then who knows, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, depending on how much demand there is for such things. So this is kind of where it would end up, and this should be relatively easy, I think, to implement. And it might be that I don't think I can implement it in the next 20 minutes. Thanks. But I bet I can get us underway in implementing this. Unless there are any questions. All right, have a good meeting. Because remember, if there are any questions, I am mostly here to help with your questions. Although I do certainly love working on my own stuff too, and working on learning some new tools. And now it's me. Hi. All right. So it's been a little while since I've gotten in here too deep, but I want to take a look and see if I have reusable component for these promos. I've got promo add. This is in my grid though. This is in my, let's see if I have source maps. I don't think I have source maps right now. No, I don't. So we'll look at related article. Article inside of article posts. Home HTML, 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 CSS. Okay. Related article. So here is where I got this. I should abstract this out into its own mix-in to make it a little bit easier to use. I don't actually need this before element on it. All right, so at this point, if I were to look at refactoring this, since I might as well refactor it while we're going, I'm going to take everything that I need. So in this case, we're going to have, so yeah, I've got first or featured, cool. We have our gradient border size, and we actually have the code itself. So at mixin gradient border, we'll pass in a new variable called gradient border size. We'll just call it size. We'll have a default of 10 pixels on that. We don't need this anymore because we're going to use size wherever we've got that. So we'll replace that here. Ooh, I gotta get a better colorized theme because this is rough for me. It's getting very confusing very quickly. Joys of a new laptop. Okay, so there's all that. I got a double semicolon we don't need there. All right, so before and after, let's just refactor this a little bit too. And oops, before and after. We know we do that on all of them. No point in repeating ourselves on that. And all right, all the rest is unique. Like I said, I don't think I need this. Although we'll keep it. No use borrowing trouble from ourselves on so we don't have to think about that. Gradient start. You know what? Just so we've got a default, which why not? Because it's my site. I think most of the time it's going to be this. We'll pass in two defaults, gradient and copy that in. All right, so we have a mix-in. We need to go ahead and use these variables down below instead of these colors. All right, let's see if that errored anything. It didn't. It's not being used yet, but at least it didn't error anything. All right, so let's see if I can just use this mix-in to replace all of this nonsense. So basically, if it's first or featured, we want to use that mix-in. So we'll call this Sass include function, and we'll pass it our, what do we call it? Gradient border mix-in. We don't need to define anything else. Let's see if that works. Compiling after 77 milliseconds. Localhost still appears to work. I think it's still working. Looks about right. So, I mean, the main reason I did that is because I want to reuse that somewhere else. And I don't want to have to, although this isn't abstracted out, that worries me. Let's look up first. Gradient border. No, I mean, I think it should be running. And I want to double check that. So we will call, let's see, our gradient end. And we're going to change it so we can double check this is working, because I just don't trust technology well enough. So this is going to be light blue instead. That's a bad idea. Let's make it purple instead. Just to confirm that it is working, which, see, as it turns out, it's not. Although Sass certainly thinks that it's running. So what do you suppose the chances are that it sees this file? My get ignore is not in here properly, it looks like. That's interesting. Where are you, get ignore? Let's look at this. Public CSS, gulp watch, watches those, publishes. Alright, let's see. Style watch, fractal start. Server is now running at 3,000. Alright, so localhost 3,000. Here's my style guide. That's there. Article. See, the issue is I actually haven't created this over here in the style guide yet, which, I mean, hey, I should technically be working through the style guide, right? But why doesn't this work? Why is SAS not compiling? No matching not found for SAS. Okay, that's fine. Go back to localhost 4,000. You know what? This is probably my service worker, if I had to guess. Downside to service workers is that I'm caching my CSS, which means, and that's the other thing, is I'm not doing these things in DevTools right now because this is a new laptop. There we go. Okay. We tracked it down, everyone. Everyone take a breath. We got this. All right, so let's turn this back off. And now we can confirm that there are now two styles. So we actually abstracted these out into their own. And then everything else is filing through there. So now we do have a reusable component for our background, our border here. And out of curiosity, I think if we delete this, it's going away. See, I have to put a background color. I have to wrap this in a div, right? I have to put the H3 and the description and all that into a div. I'd have to add more markup to make this happen. That's why I've got that in there. Just add that background instead. All right, so theoretically, I can now go, and actually one thing I do need to do, we need to set up a branch, git checkout, new branch, add space, and man, am I gonna have to take care of whatever that is going on with the node modules. It should not be looking at the node modules at all, which is frustrating. Let's see, hold on one second, y'all. Oh, that didn't work. For some reason, my shortcuts are no longer working for Studio. All right, so we're back in here, and we are going to finish out the next 10 minutes and see what I can do in terms of adding an ad space. So I'm actually going to go into one of my blog posts. We'll go to that most recent one that we've been playing with already, and we'll just add in here. Let's just put the markup in. So we're going to have, let's see. Unfortunately, I don't have my Emmet stuff set up, so let's see how fast I can write this by hand. Div class equals add space. Inside of that, we have an image, which will be blank for the moment. We'll have headline of some sort. Let's call it an H3. And let's see. Oh, let me get chat back up just in case there are any questions that do come in. H3, we're going to have, let's put classes on these, class equals add space headline. And we'll go ahead and grab from our Figma document the title that we've got here. Oops, and put that in the H3. Let's go ahead and grab the text that we've got. This will be a paragraph, class equals add space description. Go ahead and put that in there. And we'll have an anchor going wherever we want to go for sign up now. And we'll put a class on that as well. I'll go ahead and see what my button class is. It's just button. Look at that. Yeah, we'll just call it button. And we'll have a special class add space button. Save that in. Jekyll takes a second to reload all that. Alright, so now we have in line the information that we're looking for. Although that button is not, leaves something to be desired. What is my actual button class? Promo button? Nope. Grid simple. Home banner button. Looks like we will be, here we go, let's grab this. Although that's tomato, that's not what we want. All right, we will come back to creating a button for that. So close that back out. All right, we're gonna come in and we're going to say, where did that go? So now we need a new Sass file. I'm gonna go back into my regular Sass and we're going to create a new component, which is underscore add space.scss. Add it to the modules. Add space. And we're going to have dot add space. And let's just see what happens when we put that in there. Nothing happens. Background color blue. Check to see if there are any errors. There are. Look at that. Okay, we actually have an ordering issue in the way that we are building our Sass. So we will go to style.scss. It's because I chose to put the style guide last and we're defining that mix-in in there. So let's go to article promo and let's move our mix-in to a utility area instead of being in this Sass file. It shouldn't be in the Sass file anyway. So let's go back up into our SCSS. Let's go into our utils. Let's add a new utility. Call this border.scss. Bring that in here, get rid of that first space, and add that to the module down here. So at import, make this gradient border. Save that in. Does this fix our issues? Maybe. Whew. Bad things have happened. And I think I know why. So we thought about the fact that we had position absolute up there. We didn't think about the fact that the item itself needs to have position relative on it for those position absolutes to work properly. So we should be able to add at the top of the mixin, position relative, let that rebuild. So there's that. And now let's go take a look at, close that, add space. Don't need that background color on it anymore. There we go. So we have some z-index issues, which I think we just didn't bring along for the ride with us. Article promo, it was this right here, positioning the element itself. So we'll bring that out. We don't need this in here anymore either, because we moved that into our utility. And we'll bring this here as well. Okay, so there's that. Obviously, it's not perfect because we have some padding issues there. Let's go back to the blog. Okay, that's still functioning properly. All right, 4 minutes. Do you think we can get this done? Considering we're not going to get completely done. We'll want to refactor it a little bit more. Maybe if no one shows up next week with questions, I can walk y'all through how to finish it in the next hour or so. Let's see. We need some padding to come in here. So let's find where we set that over here. You know, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I'm saying it as one rem. I think it's going to make a lot more sense to set as a function of the variable that we pass in, that border size, probably double it to indent it properly. So in this case, we're going to come in here. We're going to, right here, add size times 2. Fortunately, there's an image up there. That's part of the issue. Yeah, okay. And so from here, we're just going to have to work through positioning that image. That'll either be a float or we'll use flex or grid. And then style the button more like a button. Looks like we'll probably want to have some margin on the bottom there that we don't want inside of our mixin. So we'll actually just come in here, and it's the last thing that we do today. Go back to add space.scss, and we're going to add margin bottom 1 rem, which I think is our paragraph margin bottom. There we go. So yeah, if we put maybe the logo here, obviously that white space will go away for where that dead image is when I actually add the image in. I think this could potentially be how I want to add space to each of these. I might put some sort of like tag that says, you know, promo or something like that, but this is my ad. It's not like a third-party ad, so I don't feel too bad about it. But yeah, that's gonna be the end of office hours this week. For those of you who did tune in, I do appreciate you coming. We're gonna do this hopefully every week. I'll probably make it consistently Wednesday morning at 10. And if there's enough demand and we start doing pretty good at this, we might have an afternoon one at some point in the weeks as well. So yeah, obviously today I just worked on my own stuff. Hopefully next week we will have some questions and we'll go from there. Thanks for tuning in, y'all.